This story is titled, My Fiancé Makes Big Life Decisions Without Consulting Me, and it's making me feel like I don't matter. I always believed love was about partnership, two people walking through life together, hand in hand. But lately, I feel like I'm walking alone, trailing behind the man I was supposed to marry. My name is Olivia. I'm 42 years old, and I live in a quiet suburb just outside of Chicago. I never imagined I'd be starting over at this age. I thought I had found my forever partner in Daniel. He was steady, responsible, the kind of man who always had a plan. And I liked that about him. It made me feel safe. But now that sense of security is slipping through my fingers. It started with small things, insignificant choices that, on their own, didn't seem like red flags. He'd book weekend getaways without asking if I was free. He'd agree to dinner plans with his friends without checking if I wanted to go. I told myself it wasn't a big deal. After all, relationships were about compromise, right? But then the decisions got bigger. And suddenly I felt like I was just a spectator in my own life. First real crack appeared when Daniel bought a car, a brand new fully loaded SUV. At first, I was excited. We had talked about getting a new car, something reliable for long road trips, but we had never actually decided on one. So imagine my shock when he pulled into the driveway one evening with a shiny black vehicle I had never even seen before. "Surprise!" he said, grinning as he stepped out. I tried to match his enthusiasm. "Wow, this is nice. When did you decide on this one?" "Oh, I just went for it today. The deal was too good to pass up." I forced a smile. "You didn't want to talk to me about it first?" He waved a hand dismissively. "I knew you'd love it. Besides, I took care of all the paperwork, so you don't have to stress about anything." It was meant to be reassuring, but all I heard was, "You weren't important enough to be included." I told myself it was just a car, not worth an argument. But the feeling lingered like an invisible bruise. Then came the house. We had been renting a charming little home with a garden I adored. It wasn't extravagant, but it felt like ours. We had talked about buying a house together, something we both loved. But one evening, Daniel sat me down at the dining table with a stack of papers. "I did it," he announced, eyes gleaming. "I bought us a house." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. "What do you mean? You bought a house?" "I found the perfect place. It's in a great neighborhood, has everything we need. I signed the papers today." The air left my lungs. "Daniel, we were supposed to decide together." He sighed, as if I were being difficult. "Liv, I know what you like. I know what's best for us." And that was it. Not we, not our decision, just him. I should have walked away then, but love makes you justify things that shouldn't be justified. So I swallowed my hurt and told myself we were still a team, even if I was the only one trying to play like one. Then came the wedding plans. We had agreed, on a small, intimate wedding, just close family and friends, something simple and meaningful. But one evening, Daniel casually mentioned that he had booked a venue. Not just any venue, some massive ballroom with chandeliers and a guest list that had already ballooned to over 200 people. "I ran into an old friend," he explained, "and he offered us a great deal. It's going to be perfect, Liv." I stared at him, willing myself to stay calm. "But we wanted something small." "I know," he said, waving it off, "but this will be even better. Trust me." That was his favorite phrase. Trust me. Trust him to decide where we'd live. Trust him to handle our finances. Trust him to plan our future without me. The final straw came in the most unexpected way. One evening I came home from work feeling drained. I was hoping to just curl up on the couch and unwind. But Daniel was waiting for me, his excitement nearly bouncing off the walls. "I have something to tell you." I braced myself. "What is it?" He pulled out an envelope and handed it to me. "Open it." I did, and my stomach dropped. It was a job offer. Out of state. My voice was barely above a whisper. "What is this?" "I got an amazing opportunity in Seattle. It's everything I've ever wanted, and the pay is incredible." I looked up at him, heart pounding. "When were you going to tell me?" His expression faltered. "Well, now." I gripped the paper, my hands shaking. "Daniel, we built a life here. My family is here. My job. You didn't even ask me how I felt about this." He scoffed, like I was overreacting. "Liv, it's not a big deal. We'll move together. It'll be a fresh start." I felt something inside me snap. We? There was no we in his decision. There never had been. I took a deep breath, my chest tightening. "Daniel, do you even see me as a partner? Or am I just someone who's expected to follow your lead?" His brows knitted together as if the question itself was absurd. "Of course you're my partner." "Then why do you keep making life-changing decisions without me?" Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. And then he laughed. Liv, you're overthinking this. You always do. And in that moment, I knew. I wasn't his partner. I was just an afterthought. Something inside me cracked wide open. I stared at the man I once thought I'd marry, and for the first time I saw the truth. I didn't matter to him. Not in the way a life partner should. I don't know how long I stood there, gripping that job offer, my heart shattering piece by piece. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I couldn't keep living like this. I took a deep breath, and then I made my first real decision. Daniel expected me to fall in line, just like always. But this time, something inside me shifted. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our relationship, every decision he made without me, every time he dismissed my feelings like they were inconveniences instead of valid concerns. I realized something painful but necessary. Daniel didn't see me as his equal. And worse, I had let him treat me that way. The next morning, I packed a bag. When Daniel saw me dragging my suitcase to the door, he frowned. "Where are you going?" I didn't falter. "I need space. Time to think." His confusion turned to irritation. "Liv, come on. Don't be dramatic." Dramatic, because having a say in my own life was apparently too much to ask. I lifted my chin. "This isn't drama, Daniel. This is me finally realizing that I deserve better." I walked out before he could respond. I went to my sister's house. She didn't ask questions, just hugged me and let me cry. And for the first time in a long time, I let myself feel everything. The frustration, the heartbreak, the betrayal of my own silence, my own complicity in letting myself disappear in Daniel's shadow. Days passed. Daniel called. He texted, apologies mixed with frustration. "Liv, I didn't mean to hurt you. You're blowing this out of proportion. Come home so we can talk." But I didn't go back, because it wasn't my home anymore. Then a week later, he sent a final text. "I'm leaving for Seattle. If you don't want to come with me, I guess that's your decision." My decision. The irony wasn't lost on me. I stared at the message, feeling something unexpected. Not sadness, relief. For the first time in years, I wasn't being dragged along in someone else's plans. I was standing still, deciding my own path. And that path didn't include Daniel. I sent my own final text. "Good luck in Seattle. I hope you find what you're looking for." Then I blocked his number. The wedding venue? Cancelled. The house? His problem now. The SUV he bought without asking? I didn't care. What I cared about was me, rebuilding the pieces of myself I had sacrificed to keep someone else comfortable. It wasn't easy. The loneliness crept in at night. The doubt whispered in my ear, had I overreacted? Had I thrown away a perfectly good relationship? But then I'd remember the job offer, the house, the wedding, the countless ways Daniel had erased me from my own life. And I knew I hadn't lost anything. I had gained myself. Months passed. I started therapy. I reconnected with old friends. I made decisions for myself. And with every choice, every step forward, I felt stronger. Then one evening, as I sat alone in my cozy little rental, drinking a cup of tea, I realized something that made me smile. I was happy. Not because of someone else, not because I was following someone else's path, but because I had finally chosen my own. If this story resonated with you, let's talk in the comments. Have you ever felt like your voice was being drowned out in a relationship? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories. Your story matters, just like you do.